Hi everyone. I wanted to. Sorry, the lighting is really bad. Just okay. Does this help? Does it look worse? I don't know. Anyway, I I wanted to talk about something today because it's just been on my mind and it's been on my mind for a long time, and I think that I just really wanted to talk about it and share about it because it's to me something that's incredibly beautiful and like I have to talk about it. I really wanted to talk about the way that this one person I met years ago back in college was brought up. Because I've seen, how it can change a person and how valuable it is. So I just wanted to talk about it because I've been through my upbringing, which is very different from his, and I can kind of compare and contrast what it's like. So starting with me, I grew up in the Bay Area and grew up in the suburbs and just, had a very, very simple, straightforward kind of path into, college. So it was like middle school, high school, college, nothing really crazy happening. It was literally all just studying or extracurriculars to get into college. And that was to me, really boring and almost I was like a soldier, just literally working all the time. I had the most boring life, and it was just not fun, right? But you get into college and then you meet this person who I was completely just intrigued by because he's so different from any other person I'd met, pretty much, by far. And so this person, he, it's so interesting. He grew up living in a different country for 3 months at a time. And his mom would bring him to developing countries to learn about, poverty. She had him live in poverty for a certain period of time on his own. And, then he went to military school for high school, which in and of itself is a whole other thing that's just so crazy to me because I'm like, what mother would bring a guy, put her own son in through military school when, she says that he's such a good kid already, right? And this school isn't, just one of those military schools. It's a school where a lot of, families who are well off will drop off their kids because they're really busy or whatever. It's a strict military school. So, it's not him at all. And for me, it was just surprising. And I never understood why. I never figured out why. I met his mom a couple times, but I never asked her, and it's not like I would, randomly just think of that to ask her. But I finally understood, the reasoning behind, that, which is him being such a positive influence on other people and putting him in that environment to help people, which is to me, shook me to my core. It's just incredibly selfless as a mother to, put your son through that. But also, really strong of her to believe that he would be fine at the end of the day coming out of it, even if it wasn't necessarily easy for him. So that was incredible for me to realize. But so that's one thing. But the thing that I really wanted to just mention that was the difference between me and him was the fact that he travels a lot and that he was able to learn about different cultures, that he was able to experience a culture for 3 months at a time, that he was able to go to developing countries and see how, you can help people. In addition to that, he told me that his mom would bring him to developing countries and then right after bring him to the nicest places in the world. So that kind of experience of seeing the compare and contrast of the differences, I think really gives you a really good education. The World Expo is something that I only discovered when the Shanghai Expo came out and I guess there was a lot of promotion about it, so I'd heard about it. I didn't actually get to go because I was in college, but my friend, him, he did get to go, and I, didn't go, but finally one day, when I quit my job, I was able to go. And when I went, it was just like the most amazing experience. I got to learn about countries that I didn't even know existed, learn about their cultures, and learn about just so much that was out there, and develop my perspective even more. And I was like, why did I never go with my family? You know, we always went to Disneyland every year, and that was it. You know, and we did go on like these bus trips, you know, sometimes, and we'd visit Taiwan to visit family every year when I was growing up. But there was never anything like going to the World Expo. And I had mentioned it to my dad before I went, and he was like, "Oh, I've been before," and he just wasn't a big fan of it. So I guess as a parent, he didn't care about whether or not we were cultured, and were at least, you know, more aware about other cultures in that way. But to me, I feel like it's so valuable to be able to expand your perspective on what's out there, because not only does it train you to um, think about other ideas, but also to just like, oh, it's not just like you're learning about different cultures, but you're expanding your brain, the way that you think, so that you can think of better solutions for things, you know, at work, for example, or just in life in general. And so expanding your perspective through, you know, living in different cultures and travel, especially when you're growing up, I think like seeing my friend and how he lives his life, it's so inspiring, because it's the mindset that he has is crazy. He sees the world as a kid in a candy store. Like, he's a kid in a candy store, right? So he's like, there's so many things he's interested in. He's able to understand, this is what I'm interested in, and he goes straight for it. He doesn't have, you know, what I would say that a lot of Asian American first generation kids go through, which is what I went through in my upbringing. Being guided and told what to do with my life. And, you know, this person, his parents are smart, I think, in that, and they were one of them's first generation, in that his mom would never tell him, like, you have to do this. Like, you have to go to this school, you have to study this particular thing, you have to major in this thing. She lets him choose. And so when you let someone choose, you get to, you know, really like be self-motivated and driven to do those things, because it's like your own interests, right? You get to really become, I think, who you are, and you don't feel like you have to be anyone else in terms of pursuing what you're interested in, because, you know, I think the more you do it, I would think you get a better sense of how to listen to yourself, which is, to me, I think is one of the most important things that you can ever learn and do in life, at least for our generation. So, yeah, I feel like it's something that's worth talking about and sharing, because I don't know if a lot of parents do that for their kids. Maybe they want to in the future if they have the means to, but I think it's so, so valuable to, you know, just to know about that kind of thing being out there, and that is being done, at least with this one person that I personally met. So hope that is, you know, maybe potentially helpful for some people, or at least, you know, informative in some way.